You are here, in the world's largest repository of knowledge, its grandest public forum, its most massive store. Half the world is online too, and they are shopping. But they need to find you. They need to trust you. And with the overwhelming number of shopping options out there, you need to find a way to stand out, to build a store as unique as your brand, your products. But if you want to build an e-commerce site today, you've got two choices: cookie-cutter templates or complex code. That's it. Imagine you had the power to build an experience to fit your vision, to design, build, and launch a store your way, all without writing a single line of code. Webflow Ecommerce puts all that power in your hands. From homepage to product page, cart to checkout, you're in control of everything, so you can shape your customer's experience every step of the way. This is brand-first commerce. This is Webflow Ecommerce. Don't just build a store, build a brand.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Webflow workshop. I'm your host Nelson. Thank you for joining me this week. This is episode 139, and this is a special episode. Today is the launch of Webflow Ecommerce. Yes, we are closing the book. We're closing the chapter on Webflow Ecommerce beta, and we're opening to a new chapter of live. So this is a fun day. We're all over Product Hunt. The response on Twitter is amazing, and we're just gonna show you some of the stuff that we've been working on. And I also got some special guests, and I'll introduce them soon. But first, let's look at what the community has made, some sites that the community has made inside of Webflow Ecommerce beta. And it's just amazing what you guys build. So let me just go straight into it. Sites like article.store. This is a huge website, big typography, great photography. And again, this is both designed and hosted on Webflow Ecommerce. So if I go to this, it's a product page. I can add this to cart right now. Select the size. There we go. No custom measurements. Let's just go. And there we go. This is completely made inside of Webflow. It's so beautiful what can be done. Also, shouts out to Hetkinen. I think I got that right. But again, it's beautiful what you can do with the power of Webflow now. Let's go to this product. Pretty awesome photography. Learn more. So that's a product page right here. Add to cart. And there we go. And this cart, it's not the right side. It's now a modal in the center. So you can see you can have that kind of customization. Simple.city. You can get prints and stickers of buildings, famous buildings. All right. And lastly, rolling.flowers. And again, these sites are huge. The big photography, custom grids. This had to use CSS Grid. I think it uses CSS Grid. I would have to look into the read-only link to be sure. But man, it's just add to cart right there in front of my face. Adding, and there we go. This is just amazing. And that was just in beta. So what is going to happen with the launch? And to help us out with what's going on, what happened in beta and what's going to happen in the future of Webflow Ecommerce, I have the two product managers spearheading this feature, Monica and Kyle. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey, Nelson.
Hello. How are you doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah,
We're super excited.
Yes, happy launch day. Happy launch day. Oh, man. This must have, building up to this day must have been quite of a journey for you both.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it's been a long journey building out all of the e-commerce. And this is just the beginning, right, of our e-commerce platform and solution. But even just between the launching of beta, I think maybe 3 months ago now at this point, to now, there has been a ton of hard work happening on our side, releasing a bunch of new features, which we're excited to kind of go over everything that we shipped in between the beginning of that beta and today, the kind of official launch of Webflow Ecommerce. But also, as you showed some of the examples of getting to see the community really start to pick this up and create some amazing, amazing things with it. Even in its early stage that was lacking important features like variants and a bunch of other things that we're going to be showing today. So it's been really, really exciting. And these are the types of days that I think we do this for, being able to do things like this.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. So what are you going to go over today with the community?
Yeah, so because we did a workshop when we launched beta a few months ago that really dove deep and walked through a lot of the kind of core e-commerce functionality, setting up your store, adding your first products, creating your product pages, customizing your cart, checkout, order management, all of those pieces. Today, mainly wanted to focus on, like I said, a lot of the features that we launched in between that last workshop and now. So all of the things that we launched to kind of add on to the e-commerce functionality heading into this this launch period. So really wanted to focus on that, but maybe it might make sense to spend just a couple minutes on a quick introduction or recap of what Webflow Ecommerce is in general.
Yeah.
So, cool. So, and sorry, a lot of this is going to be repeated from last time and other things I'm sure most of the folks watching this have already heard, but everything that we do at Webflow is really about empowering designers and entrepreneurs to be able to build new things for the web and kind of unleash their creative visions to the world without having to write any code. So all visually, right? And before Webflow Ecommerce, that was mostly limited to, basic static marketing sites or simple CMS driven websites. But if you had to build an e-commerce site, you had to start looking elsewhere. And what you would find there is basically that all the existing solutions out there force you to do either one of two things. Either limit your creativity and kind of constrain yourself to what you're creating to more cookie cutter templates that are the same as thousands and thousands of other stores out there, the same exact checkout page, the same exact templates and product grids and all of those pieces. Or you had to write complex code yourself or pay somebody else to write complex code yourself, and oftentimes even pay thousands of more dollars for those solutions to even allow you to write that code to create those customizations, which left a lot of designers and entrepreneurs, especially those like myself who can't write all of that code to build these things on our own, in a place where we couldn't create the things that we wanted to, where you couldn't create the types of online shopping experiences that you wanted to with the existing solutions. So Webflow Ecommerce is all about extending that power that we've kind of already been giving in terms of standard and content driven websites to our e-commerce sites as well, so that you could create a fully unique and branded experience that carries all the way through the entire shopping experience for these stores, and not just a pretty landing page that then goes into a cookie cutter one size fits all checkout process throughout that experience. Because building a brand is extremely important for businesses, especially these days, and especially online where there are so many different options out there. Standing out is a really important thing and hard to do unless you have tools like this. So if I could just share my screen really quickly to kind of bring some of that to life. So for instance, this is a store that I'm kind of creating in my spare time to play around with all of the e-commerce functionality, but selling essentially gear and prints for some graffiti style artwork that I do while I'm on the train on the way to work.
Wait, you did that? You did those?
Yes, and that's why there's only 3 right now. So need to find some more time to work on the rest here. But basically, pretty simple taste. I wanted to kind of carry through my entire experience the feel of Sharpie in a notebook, because that's where all these things were created. And so for me, I get to create a store that really matches my brand, and kind of carries that through the entire shopping experience, from viewing the products, adding them to my cart, looking at my cart, and then going through the checkout experience as well. So for me, simple, clean is really what I was going for this brand, because it matches all of the artwork and kind of all of the pieces there. At the same time, though, another brand might want to have a completely different feel, maybe something more eye-popping, and something way more unique to set them apart. And so a couple of the folks on our marketing team, Ryan and Barrett, created this kind of fake furniture store to highlight some of the broad range of what you can accomplish with Webflow e-commerce in terms of breaking free from those templates and being able to do something really, really unique. So that's kind of 2 ends of the spectrum, maybe, but a good example of the types of things that we try to make possible for you. And you showed a couple from our community, which are awesome, and some of my favorite sites that our customers have made so far. Yeah. I also maybe just want to show off and a little bit of free marketing for some of the folks in our Webflow family who have also built some amazing stores as well. I'm sure a lot of people know Waldo, our customer support hero and leader, but he and his wife launched an e-commerce store called the Midwest Mutt Shop recently, which has a bunch of puppy gear and gear for puppy lovers as well, which is really exciting, and folks should check it out if they want to see some of the kind of cool interactions that people were able to make with Webflow e-commerce. And then one last one that I also wanted to show. This is from some family members of one of our great engineers, Forrest here, who just recently launched a clothing company, clothing and yoga gear called Friends Day, where you can find these really beautiful and unique pants, dresses, and this site really gives you an idea of, kind of the cool stuff that you can create without writing any code, and the unique brand experiences that you can now create with Webflow e-commerce to provide to your clients and to provide to the end customers of all of these stores as well. So ton of fun seeing the things that people are creating with this, and excited to share some of the new features here.
Nice. Really exciting. Right.
Cool.
And so,
should we jump into some of those features?
Yeah, then? New features. I mean, it's just so amazing what you can build inside of Webflow already, and I think the community is now wondering, where do we go from here? What beta is done? What have we launched for today, and what will we be launching for the roadmap soon?
Yeah. I'm sure everybody wants to know, what can I use now? And we're happy to show you a couple of the features that we've worked on since our beta. And the first one, I guess you're sharing your screen right now. Mm-hmm. As you well know, setting items on sale helps generate more sales for your store. And we actually made that possible with a brand new field. The brand new field, when you create a new product, there we go.
There we go.
So Kyle right now is creating a brand new product. And you'll notice right next to the existing price field, which is required, we've added a new field called the compare at price. And this is the best way of setting the item that you have on sale. So what you do is you take your existing price and you put it into the compare at price, and that automatically sets that item on sale. And then you can go ahead and continue using that field and do special things like set special representations of the product. You can set badges to it. In this case, Kyle crossed out the old price and he's highlighting the new sale price that indicates it's on sale, that you're getting a deal here. You can also use it, like I said, to create badges, to create special collections, to do special things that really customize your store towards driving sales towards those sale items. So that's a new item that we added to our product fields that you should be able to use today.
Yep. And in the live site, same sort of thing, being able to pull it up with the nice little cross out and letting them know, hey, you used to have to pay $22 for this shirt, but now
check out the savings.
18. Cool.
Yeah. And so the next item that we wanted to show you, it's also another product field that we're excited to show you. And that is directly below this price and compare at price field. You'll notice the product's tax class. So as you all know, Webflow already calculates the sales tax for you, so you don't have to do that. And we all know that taxes are super complicated. And what we've done is we've allowed you to specify more specific tax class on that item. Because as you will know, clothing is actually taxed at a different rate than things like water or candy. So if you open up the link, we could show you all the different categories that you can set. And so in this way, you can actually have more specific tax calculations on each of your products. So that way you don't have to manage that and you don't have to be overpaying on some of the items that you're being taxed on.
Or underpaying.
Or
under collecting, which would be even worse, right?
Exactly.
So, yep.
Yeah. And so the amazing thing is that you don't need an integration. This is actually built into the product. All of these tax classes are there. We're using a specific, service right now. We're using TaxShar to provide all of these tax calculations for you. So you don't have to hook that up in any way. It's built in right into Webflow.
Yep. And this, just as Monica said, provides more information about all these products and orders when we're asking for those tax calculations, which makes them more accurate. So really important, even though it's a feature that turned into just a single drop down in the add and edit product form here. From a business perspective, hugely important. And so that's really nice that we were able to get that in there too. So cool. All right. So continuing to move on.
This is the super special one. I think we've all been waiting for this one. We're excited.
Yeah, this one, the next one we wanted to show that launched, I think, a couple of weeks ago now, is one of the biggest ones and one of the biggest features that we knew we needed to have in before actually launching our e-commerce platform. And that's the ability to support multiple variants for your products. So products that have options that end users need to be able to select between when they're making their shopping decisions on the store. Like, I don't know, if you're trying to start a online clothing store that sold shirts, you probably need to have things like size and color for those different shirts, or else you'd be very much limiting the number of people that you could serve. So that's where variance comes in, and the ability to create these for any product you have by defining options for those products, and then essentially being able to manage all of the information for the different versions of those products that are created by those options. So to provide an example, let's say I'm selling shirts with size and colors, and I have extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large.
Oh, wow.
And you can start to see that now this shirt product actually has 5 different versions of it, different variants underneath here. And if I added another option like color, black and white, to keep it simple, you'll now see that there are 10 variants here. So each combination of the different size options and the different color options get created for you automatically for this product. And for each of these, now instead of only being able to manage this kind of product information at the product level, you can actually add separate images for each individual variant. A black shirt has a different picture to go along with it than a white shirt does. So you want to be able to add those different versions in there. You can set the inventory tracking and quantity amounts to be different for each variant. The SKU value, so the unique identifier you're using for each of those. The prices can all be set differently for the different variants. A lot of times with different sized products, you know, you might be selling things in a larger size bundle or package, and having different prices for those, and measurements similarly with height, length, and weight. And as you set all of those, you're basically turning one product into many different items that can then be integrated into your online shopping experience, as I'll show you in just a second here. So a couple of quick notes, I guess, while we're in here and on video, because I think people might be interested. At least as of right now, we're limiting to every product to have only up to 3 options. So size, color, maybe material, cotton, poly. But you can only have 3 different option sets. And then the total number of variants that you can have per product is limited to 50 right now. As you can imagine, once you start the game of multiplication across a number of different options within a product, you can pretty quickly create a ton of different variants. And right now, to make sure that all of the workflows scale really well, are really performant, not only in the kind of product management experience, but most importantly on the live site and shopping experiences as well, we have some limitations there in terms of how many of these you can create. But once you do, and I won't save
and
that
there's
one.
there's plans. I know that the community might be asking already. Will there be plans in the future for lifting these limitations to at least a higher number? Of course, not infinite, but a higher number.
Yep, and so that's definitely something that we plan on trying to tackle in the future. Again, as I mentioned, it's more about the scalability and performance that we want to make sure that what we're providing folks with today is going to reach the bar of what we expect for our users and the sites created with Webflow. But that's the type of thing that we do want to invest more time into to try to make improvements there that will help make it possible for us to lift more and more of those item limits. So thank you for asking that, because I do imagine people are interested there. So just before I hop into how this shows up in the store experience itself, here's a version of a kind of fully filled out product that has those different variants with the different images for the black ones and the white ones, the different prices, SKUs, all of those there in here. So once you've kind of created all of these, then you can hop into the actual site design process. And some of you might have seen this on the live site when I flipped through it earlier, but now you also have in your add to cart component these new additions that will show up for any products that have options and variants, an option list that provides selection controls for each of those options. So I had size and color for this shirt, and now in my product pages and in my kind of add to cart component here, the ability to style and kind of add these option selection fields so that when someone is on the live site and they want to purchase one of these, that they can actually go through and select those options. And as you can see on the site, when they make these selections, all of the fields that were associated with fields that were on those different variants, so like the image, the price, all of the versions of this shirt are the same price, but if the black shirts were $20 instead of $18, then once I selected one of those, the price would update to that amount. The images update live to that amount, or to the image associated with the selected variant. And all of that is kind of already incorporated in the live publish site behavior for these stores, which is really exciting.
That's awesome. I remember when that feature came out, when variants came out, and I didn't expect the image to change automatically. I thought, okay, we're going to have to do some sort of interaction or something like that. But you guys already did the work for us. And I'm like, whoa, okay, even less code, even less stress. This is amazing. Like, what's next?
Yep. No, it's really nice, and I mean, pretty smooth. I think you saw it right there when you're making those changes. To be able to see that up to date information is obviously really important for the shopping experience. So that part is there on the add to cart side of things. So before users have made and customers have made their purchasing decisions, but variants carry all the way through the rest of your store and shopping, your kind of customers experience as well. So in the cart, you'll also see that any item that is added to the cart, all of the images that show up are going to be the ones that match not only the product, but the very specific variant that was added to the cart as well. And we have a similar option list little widget here within the cart for each item too. So if any of the items that were added to the cart do have options that were selected, those will be displayed dynamically in the cart as well. And as a designer, you can customize the look and feel of how all of that shows up here too. So, and I guess before we move on, similarly in the checkout experience, in the order confirmation pages as well, on your order items widget, there's the same behavior is kind of carrying through here as well, with the options being displayed dynamically with each line item and the image and the price all reflecting those variants correctly. So those pieces are all tied together really nicely to kind of pull, that variant support through the entire experience, but all still really customizable and flexible for folks to do a bunch of creative stuff with. So variants is one of the biggest things that we launched during beta. And as I'm sure most of you already know, opens up our solution to just tons and tons more businesses. I think it's actually fair to say that the majority, probably the vast majority of businesses, especially online e-commerce stores, need this functionality to even be able to, run their store or use a platform like Webflow. So this one was really big, really difficult and challenging to build and implement, but also extremely important. And so we are pumped that it's out there now.
Nice.
Cool. All right. So that was variants. Another kind of smaller enhancement that we launched, but that is actually super meaningful from a design flexibility standpoint, is the ability to add those. If I go back to the product page that we just saw, the ability to add these add to cart widgets that allow those end users to select the products they want and to actually add those to their shopping cart when they're shopping on the live site. To not only have those on product details pages, but to be able to add them directly to collection lists tied to products as well, which offers a ton more flexibility in terms of the types of experiences you can create. People may have noticed that in my live site, for instance, you don't actually ever go to the product page. basically mine is structured in a slightly different way around these pieces, which are a separate CMS collection, and then products associated with those. And so, you know, in my case, it felt like you don't actually need to hop off to a completely separate page and then add something to the cart. We could create a much more seamless experience by just creating an interaction that pops up a little modal with those product details and the ability to add, I am not small, the ability to add that item to your cart right from there. And that's one of those things that, again, you know, a smaller enhancement, but one that actually unlocks a ton of creative flexibility for designers when they're building out these stores. Might not be right for all stores, but for some like mine, where the products themselves are actually pretty simple, and you know, the main kind of pieces of those products can be displayed within the product list itself. It's perfect because it takes away one extra page flip, one loading step, and kind of makes the ability to check out a bunch of these different things, different products, and choose the one that you want to add much more seamless.
Yeah, so you can essentially buy from any page.
Yep.
From your landing page, you can immediately have it added to your cart. Super powerful.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you said buy, purchasing. So
yeah,
I think the next one is probably one of our newest, the newest features that we
So, well, we were recently in the cart, and as we all know, it's pretty common. It's about 70% of all shopping carts actually get abandoned. And that's for a number of reasons. And one of the biggest reasons is customers have a hard time or are not empowered enough to type in their credit card information or their customer information. And to help you with that, to alleviate that, we've actually integrated a brand new feature, if you want to open it up in the settings under payments, and that is web payments. And web payments allows your browser to essentially hold all of that information, like your customer info and their credit card, and to be able to use that directly at checkout. So in this case, the way that you turn it on is you essentially flip the toggle, like Kyle just did right now, save that, and open it up in your cart. So this feature is available now in your cart. You'll notice that there is a brand new button within your cart. There's actually two new buttons. One is something that many people recognize. It's the Apple Pay button, which will initiate Apple Pay directly from the cart. And there's another button, and it's called the Pay with Browser button. And what this does is that it allows you to use whatever browser your customers are on. It uses that browser to mitigate the payment. In the case of opening the site on Chrome, it uses Google Pay. And then on Microsoft Edge, it uses Microsoft Pay. And so that's just a really quick way of making purchases, quickly getting from adding the item to your cart directly to having a confirmed order. And we can actually show that to you in a live site on Kyle's site, Safari.
Which is right here.
There. All right, so if you just open up the cart, there it is. There's the Apple Pay button. And then if you invoke that, that will open up. One thing that I wanted to point out in terms of how customizable this is, back to the designer, the Apple Pay button, we're making sure that you're staying within the constraints of human interface design principles. So they have very, very strict branding limitations on how that button gets styled. So we help you with that. And then for the browser pay button, that is fully customizable. We just suggest that you communicate to your users what this browser button is supposed to do. So in this case, you can say pay now. It's a good idea to use logos to show what type of experience you might invoke, but that's entirely customizable. It's up to you to kind of change the look and feel of that, and to just get your customers to quickly, use their saved credit card information and make those purchases much quicker.
Yeah, I just so we launched this yesterday evening, last night.
This is a hot off the press type of feature. So yeah.
And I made my first purchase with it for my own store. So I was kind of just all back to myself, but on my phone last night using Apple Pay. And, you know, especially that type of use case, typing in my credit card information on a, you know, on a store that doesn't even have all the letters in the alphabet yet. And from my phone, where it's annoying to type in all that information anyways, to be able to just see that Apple Pay button, tap it, place my fingerprint on there, and you know, complete the entire checkout process is huge. And the type of thing that, you know, the type of feature that really makes it possible to create a shopping experience that drives more sales, which is the what's really important. That's the whole reason for these things existing. So that is super exciting to have this here. And are there any future plans with the Apple Pay and web payments?
So you guys see it right now. It's in the cart. We would like to enable that very soon within the actual checkout page itself. So we give your users another opportunity to see that, the brand recognition, to be able to pay in using that fashion. And then we're also looking at expanding that. We are using this web standard. It's called Web Payments, the Payment Request API. And that is really cool because it means that any type of additional browser that starts supporting this web standard, you'll also get the goodies of having that available in your store without you having to do anything. So I know that, for example, Firefox has their own payment ability, and that will be coming soon. As soon as that's available, you'll have that also in your store without you having to do anything.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
All amazing stuff. And I saw on the e-commerce launch page that the marketing team launched today, it says PayPal coming soon.
Yep. Yeah. So that's another really big one. We understand that, you know, Stripe does cover a lot of cases, but PayPal is another highly requested item that is on our roadmap, and currently we're looking into building that right now. So that's another one that we're super excited to add to our payment methods for the stores. Yeah.
And I'd say in terms of PayPal, very likely that it will end up really building on top of kind of what we've already put in place to support these additional payment methods like Apple Pay, Google Pay, web payments in general, where, you know, similar to where we were talking about those options showing up, being able to get a PayPal button in there too in your shopping experience. So in the cart, to be able to just quickly jump into that PayPal experience to complete that order, or on the checkout page itself, when they land here, you know, being able to say, oh, I'd rather not, you know, fill all this information out here, but I'm totally comfortable with hitting that pay with PayPal button. That's, you know, they're a hugely recognized and trusted brand. And so being able to provide the ability for end customers to complete purchases with PayPal is going to be a huge benefit that I'm sure in the chat and just in general that a lot of folks are looking for. So we're looking to build that really soon.
Nice.
Cool. Nice. And you did mention the marketing site, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Which we'll take a break from our features for
let's just enjoy this.
If any of you watching have not seen this yet, our design team just always blows my mind with the types of things that they're able to create to really share a lot about the new features and functionality that's available on Webflow. And so if you're looking for more information about Webflow Ecommerce, this is a great place to start, not only for that information, but also if you just want to get inspired by amazing like creativity and design, then this is a great site to check out. And if I keep on scrolling down, as long as I don't get distracted, so much. There's a lot of great information on here too. A ton of details around how our platform compares with others. And also, you know, especially around some of these things. So payments, for instance, trying to communicate some of the features that are going to be coming soon or that we have planned as well. So just a great place for you to be able to start looking for more information about Webflow Ecommerce if you'd like to. So, and I really wanted to show it off because it is.
Don't mind the scroll.
Yeah, I know.
So cool. Webflow.com/ecommerce. Check it out after the stream and just enjoy it. Enjoy it. The marketing team is always killing it.
So we had just a couple more features that are less on the design side and more on kind of the business management and workflow side. But I think we've just been talking a lot. Nelson, did you have any questions on any of the things that you saw so far or thoughts that you wanted to share?
I don't have questions right now, but I know there's you both have a lot of questions waiting in queue. So if we can quickly go over the what's next on the roadmap, and then we'll get to the questions from the community. And yeah.
Okay, great. So let me just breeze through then these last couple of features.
There's more.
And then talk about the coming up on the roadmap. We've added a lot of stuff during beta, which is exciting. But the first one, or the first two, I guess, that I wanted to share together was actually adding Zapier support and support in our API for e-commerce, the e-commerce functionality as well. Everything from adding and updating product items to what are maybe some of the at least the things that I've been more excited about playing around with. New workflows to automate based on orders coming in as well. So a very simple one that I created with Zapier here was a new order SMS alert. So, being able to really easily wire up new custom workflows with these different tools for individual businesses to help them manage their stores. Essentially, the world is opened up by making it possible to do these things with tools like Zapier or through the API. And that's kind of my next personal project, is to make it so that this store is actually something that I can manage by having it wired up completely to Printful, which will get these orders automatically, print them on demand for me, and ship them out to customers as well. And that's just like the type of thing that you can create already with Webflow Ecommerce by...
Wait. So just want to make sure this is clear. A connection with Printful is already ready, or it's something that you're working on?
It's something that I'm working on using Zapier and the API right now. We do have hopes and plans to add more built-in integrations to different services into our Webflow Ecommerce platform, but mainly wanted to just share that as an example of, even with some of the tools we have right now, especially if you have at least a little bit of skills to wire together some custom code to help out with those integrations, you actually can make them happen with what we have. And so that's kind of the next challenge on my personal playlist for this project is to actually wire that up, and then hopefully share how to do that in a blog post or something with the community.
Oh, nice.
Kyle did not want to screen print every single.
No.
It looks like legging and and t-shirt. So he wants to like offset that to another service.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ship them or deal with returns or any of those pieces.
Oh, can't wait for that blog post. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, so that's Zapier and API support, which just opens up a ton of possibilities for folks. Another one that we wanted to show that I think also just launched yesterday.
So go ahead and open up your live site in the editor. There's been a couple questions that I noticed in the list here in the chat. Is what about analytics? And right now you can see that we have our very first step towards that. We have something very, very simple at a high level. You can check this view and see how your store is doing. We show very, very simple things like the number of orders, your total sales, how big each order value size is. But we want to expand this view to indicate more things, to tell you more about your customers' behaviors, to talk about conversions, to talk about visits, all these things that really matter to your store that help you optimize for your customers. So we're really excited, and this is the first step, but really expanding what we show you at a glance. So you're really empowered to really customize your store to meet the needs of your customers. And so this is our order dashboard.
Yep. And not much
Nice.
here, except that obviously my favorite Webflow teammate, the only one who cares about helping my dreams come true, Tim. Thank you.
Tim supports his art.
Yeah, exactly. All the rest.
Site is live.
But no, really excited about this as a first step to providing more of that analytics and data. And this is also where we'll just be building out more of the reporting capabilities as well, so that those things will be available not only to you as kind of the site manager and owner, but if you're working and building these for clients, the actual business owners and other collaborators, to be able to have access to that really important business information as well. So that one is super exciting to get our first step in there, that we'll continue to build on in the future.
Yeah, and so the last thing that we wanted to show you was more in terms of your marketing campaigns, your marketing efforts. A lot of the times other platforms actually require you to buy or integrate different types of integrations or plugins to do that. What we've done is we've enabled you to sell on Facebook and Google with an inventory sync here. So in the integrations tab, you see Facebook and Google has already been enabled. We won't open this up, but you essentially click this and we'll actually give you a data feed of all of your products. You can take that URL and plug it into Facebook, as Kyle has already done here. And that essentially populates your entire catalog from your product list. This can actually be scheduled, so it pulls it in at any specific time. And then directly from this view, you can create a brand new ad set using your products. And so that's really cool. It's a quick way of getting your products into these different channels for essentially bringing more traffic to your store.
Neat.
Awesome.
And I think this can also go with Instagram, right?
Yes.
Yep. So the product feed that you get in here, you can use to power dynamic ads on Facebook and Instagram. And I believe, and I haven't set this up yet, you can even get the products listed from your catalog on your Facebook page itself too, if you have that set up with to kind of have that product store on there. So really cool stuff. And just wanted to, highlight with these last three that, especially when it comes to these workshops or, on our marketing site and all of those things, we often focus on the design aspect, the creative flexibility piece, because in a lot of ways, like that is what makes us way different from the other solutions that are out there. But we also know how important it is to actually support the types of workflows that people need to really run and build successful businesses on an e-commerce platform as well. And so we have been throughout the course of this project, and will continue in the future, which we'll talk a little bit more in just a minute, investing in those types of features and workflows as well. Because at the end of the day, it's important for all of us, for you as the designers, for the store business owners themselves, for us as a platform that's providing the ability to run these e-commerce stores on there, that everyone is as successful as possible. And then I think we'll all be very, very happy with that outcome. So that's why we're working on kind of all of those different pieces.
That's awesome. Streamlining the workflow for not only the designer, but the designer's client who needs that, who needs a store. And
Yep.
oops, there we go. Awesome. Thank you so much for giving us a look at all the past features, the new features, and what's to come. Now, are you ready for the community's questions?
Yes. Would you like us to first cover just a little bit of the major things that are coming up next?
Oh, yeah. So
And then,
there's
I mean, I
more.
imagine that might answer some questions too.
Oh yeah, because when you stopped sharing your screen, I was like, oh okay, I guess we're done. But okay, what's happening next?
I just don't have anything in particular to
Yeah, we can't show it,
for
so we'll
this
talk to
one.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think in terms of talking about the future of Webflow e-commerce, I think the main things that I hope everyone feels and understands is that we're not stopping here. This isn't like, hey, we launched Webflow e-commerce,
We're done.
and now we're moving on to something else. We'll see you all later. Much of the core team that built all of the stuff that you've been using, that you've seen today, that was launched with the beta, is still going to be working on continuing to build out e-commerce functionality going forward. And we're actually hoping to really operate in a similar way as we have during this beta period. So, I mean, we talked through a bunch of the features that we launched even in this like couple month period of time, which I think put us at, like every 1 to 2 weeks launching a new feature, whether it's a really big one like variants or the Apple Pay and web payments stuff, or smaller enhancements that are also still really meaningful. And that's the type of balance that we are really planning on carrying forward as well. So that cadence, providing new features as quickly as we possibly can. And part of that is going to be mixing smaller enhancements with some of the really big things too at the same time. Yeah. And as I kind of described just a minute ago with respect to the design features and functionality and the more store or business management workflows, we're also looking to balance improvements in both of those areas at the same time as well. So you're going to see from our team a lot of what you saw during beta, which is, big feature, small feature, business management feature, design related feature, as we really try to push all of those pieces forward as much as possible.
Yeah, just a good healthy mix to help you run successful businesses.
Yeah. And as far as like the bigger ones that I'm sure are top of mind for everybody, some of the major ones that we're really starting to dig into now are the PayPal support. So I know one big theme that has come up a lot already is just that the more payment methods we can support, the more flexibility we provide there, the more businesses out there are going to be able to use Webflow e-commerce, especially in as we think about the international market and providing support for places and businesses all over the world. Getting more payment methods helps open up all of those different doors. And PayPal is the biggest one that we're going to tackle first, that will kind of open up the widest to the widest audience for us. And so that's a huge focus of ours post-launch, so going forward. Another one that we're also going to be working on in the more immediate future is again trying to open up and make our e-commerce platform available to be used for more types of businesses out there, is digital good support. So right now, we pretty much only support, at least in a built-in way, physical goods that require shipping. But what we want to make possible as well is people to create stores where they're selling digital goods too, and digital goods that can be delivered electronically, rather than only supporting companies that sell products that are shippable. And that's again one of those, the first major step in a theme of improvements we want to make to support more types of businesses. I know we've heard people ask about subscription payments. for instance, or
Yeah.
service scheduling, a lot of these different types of products, donations, right? The different types of products that they want to be able to have supported in a Webflow e-commerce store. And digital goods will be the first thing along that track that we're going to be focusing on as well. And then oh yes, thank you. Coupons and discount codes.
Yes.
More. So if those first two were about more payment options so that more businesses could use Webflow e-commerce, digital goods, so that different types of businesses would be able to that kind of can't right now. Coupons and discount codes are one of those features that actually spans across all of the different businesses to be able to provide special deals and coupons to their customers or their prospective customers when they're marketing for their stores.
Yeah, just a great way of driving more traffic, driving more sales to your store. It's like a really great tactic, a really great marketing technique.
Yeah. So those are probably the three kind of major new features that I would say on our immediate roadmap that we're going to start digging into. But like I said, our hope is to mix those kind of larger initiatives with also releasing a lot of smaller but still important enhancements as well. And so I would say expect to see a lot happening in e-commerce, even beyond today, much in the same way that we tried to continue to build on top of what we launched for the beta a few months ago. So, yeah.
Awesome. And I know those three things have been on top of the minds of our community. I've seen forum posts, wish list submissions about those things. And speaking of wish list, if you have a feature on your mind that you just wish Webflow had, please go to wishlist.webflow.com and submit it there. Get your friends to upvote it so we can see where we can fit it into our roadmap and see what the customer or the community response is to that idea. And yeah, the coupons, the PayPal, and the digital goods, really big features, and hopefully soon we can get those and so many new e-commerce sites will be launched. With that being said, let's go to all the questions and see if we can just hit them really quickly. All right, so here we go. First one from Brian: how long before we have how long before we have coupons, gift card redemption, gift card redemption, and custom accounts? Not sure about the custom accounts, but yeah, how long before coupons and gift cards? So
yeah, can't really answer exactly time frame wise how long, but as I explained, it's the coupons and discount codes piece is at least one of the three biggest features that we have next up on our roadmap. So it's something we're hoping and planning on working on really soon. So, and then in terms of the other pieces, gift cards is probably a little further into the future, and customer accounts is another one of those that we know is super important, and that we want to start digging into soon. It also is that one's out of probably all the things we've talked about is going to be the most technically challenging to build in the Webflow way as well. And so that's why I haven't really talked too much about that as being, in the immediate term from a roadmap perspective, even though it's something that we are definitely looking into and kind of thinking through what we want to create there. So
one step at a time. All right. John asked a question about recurring subscriptions, but I'm going to skip it since we've already answered it. Sarah is asking, wondering if you can take a look. Oh, okay. That's a site review. So I'm going to skip that.
And by the way, really quickly on some of the features like the subscriptions or like gift cards that we talked about as being a little further out into the future. Just wanted to reiterate what Nelson said about participating in our wish list and any surveys that we put out through the wish list, any outreach on our forums, right, is you as the community can help push those things forward faster by continuing to tell us how important they are. Like we didn't get to the list of what we've built so far or what we're focused on really digging into next, just on our own, deciding what we wanted to do. It's all coming from feedback that we've gotten from our customers, our community, and the market in general. And so please keep telling us what's the most important. And the more of you who do that, the easier it's going to be for us to say, yeah, we need to do that as quickly as possible. And let's figure out how to make that happen. So
yeah, it's a really big part in our decision-making process. And we really love learning and hearing from all of you. So keep those conversations going. We know the forums are a really big part of understanding what's, frustrating or what you guys are excited about. So just, keep having those conversations with us.
Awesome. And Kyle and Monica are on the forums listening, reading and hearing your thoughts. So just like they said, post there as often as possible. Okay, next question from Hugo. This is a good one. What about multi-language? I need to be able to sell my products in other markets like Asia.
So multi-language is definitely something that's not only on our the e-commerce radar, but really Webflow sites in general that we do want to solve in the future. It's not something that we're actively working on right now, but it is something that we have started. I mean, Monica especially have started to.
We've done a lot of thinking and digging into that, and it's a really huge undertaking. And we do have plans to do that. We've actually laid down a lot of the foundational pieces, and we're doing that now.
Nice.
So it's something that we are very much motivated to solve for you guys. So it is something that we're not currently developing, but we have a lot of the groundwork and we're thinking about it a lot. Yeah.
Nice. From Joe Bates, what progress is being made on customer login, authentication, and display of customer specific information? I think this would be really good for e-commerce.
Yep. So I would say this is same answer that I gave to the customer accounts in general. When I say customer accounts, that's actually the stuff that's more in our minds in terms of how are we going to create experiences or workflows where you can create customer or user specific experiences on those end sites, and that's the piece that is not on our immediate roadmap versus those kind of other big projects that I had mentioned earlier, but is definitely on our radar as one of the most impactful things that we could build into our platform. It's also one that is not just for e-commerce, but has uses and potential extensions beyond normal e-commerce sites as well. So it's something we want to do, but aren't currently working on right at this moment. So.
Okay. All right. Sarah, how are taxes handled for shops in the EU?
So for stores in the EU or countries in the EU, right now our tax estimation calculations are all powered by TaxJar's system of kind of constantly updated taxes and kind of tax rules and rates. They support the European Union VAT. And so if you have automatic tax calcs turned on for your store, then when orders are made, the customer address information, your business address information, the order information with the product categorization and everything, all of that gets sent to TaxJar to get the calculations for those taxes, and so then gets incorporated in the order. The one other setting that you can turn on that I think is applicable in many of the countries, if not all of them, that you might be thinking about, is the ability to say that the prices that are being displayed on your site already include the taxes. So what will happen is when orders are made, if you have that setting turned on, is we're still going to get the tax calculation information, but not add it to the subtotal based on the product prices for that order, but still get those calculations and capture them along with the order, so that the business has those, and even the end users get to at least have access to that information as well. But it doesn't get added to the product prices when you're going through checkout, like it does in the United States for the most part, where we add on sales tax on top of all of our, $9.99 prices. Everything.
So clearly we thought through that scenario, and we have a way around it for both the US taxes and for EU taxes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for the question. All right, we're going to move down to Eli's question. Can you have both payment options available at the same time? And I'm guessing he's talking about both Apple Pay and Google Pay, web payments based on browser at the same time, because I see that's just a radio button for that.
Yes. So the way that it's implemented right now, we're using web payments, which is a web standard. It essentially allows you to use your browser to instigate the payment. In this case, it's not possible for both types of payments to be shown at the same time. So in this case, like Apple Pay will only be shown if you're on a Safari browser, and there's another condition where your user had to have had credit card information saved. So there's like a condition there as well. So because we are leveraging this web payments API, that is not possible. It would be possible with like native APIs, but that's not the way that it's currently used. But yeah, I would like to see what you think about that.
Yeah, I'd also say that same limitation won't carry through once we introduce something like PayPal,
right?
Though,
Yeah.
right? Because you totally could be on your phone and have the ability to use Apple Pay on a store to complete a purchase, and still want to choose PayPal instead. Whereas it's much more rare that you would be on your phone in Safari shopping on a store. I don't even think it's possible to have like Google Pay set up in that case.
Yeah,
I don't know
sure either.
but it's kind of more right now based on whatever the primary payment method associated with that browser device you're on.
Yeah, so this feature is pay with your browser. And so the browser actually chooses, in Chrome, it chooses Google Pay as an option. So that's just a little bit about how it works. And then, yeah, thanks for asking that question around that limitation.
Nice. All right. From Philip, this is a good one. How can we test payments and checkout?
Yeah, so testing all the way through the order process right now. I'll be completely honest and say that we don't have a great way for you to kind of completely run a test payment through our e-commerce store right now. In the design workflows and in the preview mode in the designer, we do our best to help you walk through what that experience is like and make that possible. So when you're previewing your site in the designer and you hit the add to cart button, we display the cart if that's set to be displayed as soon as you've added something. And if you click on the continue to checkout in the cart, you get taken to your checkout page, and it has kind of fake data for the order, but you can at least interact and get a feel for what that experience looks like. It doesn't, right now, there isn't a way to run a test transaction all the way through the entire process where, you're actually typing in a test credit card number, for instance, submitting a real order, having that test order kick off an actual email. You can send yourself a preview email for all of the e-commerce email receipts and notifications, but not, one that's triggered through the normal shopping experience. And you can't get those test orders in your order management flow to see that whole experience right now. It's something that we know about as a limitation, and that we do want to tackle and make possible. That's the type of thing that the reason it's not there right now, a lot of it is technical challenges that we're going to have to figure out how we can work through to make that experience possible for you all. But it does fit into, in my mind, one of those like types of features that we would like to try to work on alongside some of those bigger ones that we're doing, that more help fill out the foundation, make the entire solution easier to use and adopt, while we're continuing to build out like those really important missing features. So it's not as good as it should be right now, which you probably saw when I was in my live store in the order management, and I had 5 $2 transactions for myself.
He's going to refund himself a lot. I mean, some of the workarounds that we've used internally with our teams here is the minimum amount, I think, is 50 cents. So just being able to test out your own products. Hopefully you can, before it's actually live, that's just one workaround right now that you can use.
And it makes sense for the community, because I can just see myself thinking about what if I want to test out the triggers on Zapier, or if I know how to play with the webhooks and with custom code or something like that. So I guess start with 50 cents and we'll wait for the team to build a test mode. Yep. All right. Thank you, Philip. Great question. Next one, we'll throw a softball. Johnny says, no questions, just a huge clap and kudos to the whole team, from design to product to QA to Vlad and Sergi. Why is Vlad and Sergi a step? Amazing new update.
Can I add to that?
Okay. So that is the actual step, design, product, QA, Vlad, and then Sergi, and then
well, let's kick at least Sergi off the list. No, thank you. And maybe this is a great time to take a second and do a full thanks from us as well to the entire team, because there are some people that got left out on that list as well that I want to make sure are absolutely included. But agree, a huge team of, well, huge for our standards, of team spent a ton of time, put in a lot of dedication and care into not only dreaming up what this solution should look like, the first version, and then how we want to build on it in the future, but actually creating it, designing it, building it, testing it, shipping it. A lot of awesome work went in there and is continuing to go on there. But with the beta launch and with launch especially, one of the most awesome things for us, one of my favorite things, besides seeing what our customers build with what we get out there, one of my favorite things about working here is that once we've created something on the product side and the entire company gets involved, that's where you start to see a ton of the magic and the amazing talent and intelligent people and hard work that's here on the marketing side. All of the people who coordinated the entire beta and this full launch, who created that beautiful Webflow Ecommerce site that you saw, and directed that video, which hopefully you all get to see too, because it's just like mind-blowing. Our education team, there are a ton of guides that we just released, written guides that walk through how to do everything that you can possibly do in e-commerce. And I think maybe the first 7 videos, but there's a ton more to come. I'm sure all of you have seen our education videos that are not only incredibly helpful and informative, but also really amusing and funny, and have a great ton of personality as well. And our support team that has been supporting real customers, real stores, several hundred real stores processing thousands of orders already. They've been supporting them with a brand new product, e-commerce, for the last several months, and excited about doing that going forward. It's it's everyone here
Yeah.
that has played a big part in this. And so, you know, like, I think we want to extend a huge amount of personal thanks to them, but hope that the community does for all those folks as well. So
Yes.
thank you all.
Yes. Claps in chat for the team, for everyone in the Webflow team, engineering, QA, customers, service, marketing. It's just everyone. I don't know how the team does it, but you all make some beautiful things come to life and gives the community a platform to step onto and make things happen. Thank you, thank you. All right. One more question, because I think looking at all the questions right now, and they seem to be repeating the same things over and over. So this one, I too would like to know from Bodhi asking, would love to know if there's any updates on the development of multi-image CMS uploading for e-commerce or CMS galleries. So yeah, very big question.
Yes. It's in development. The multi-image field is in development right now for the CMS, which will also be extended to be used in the products, e-commerce products as well. So we're working on it, and as fast as we can get it out there, it will be. But that one, that will probably land even before some of those other items I mentioned. But we're working on it. So we need it, especially for e-commerce sites, right? There were a lot of products in there where you want to show multiple views, multiple pictures, but it's going to be huge beyond e-commerce as well, which is super exciting. So.
We got one from a person named Tim. He's asking, why haven't I received my print from Kyle yet? Your only customer?
I'm sorry, Tim. I'll make it up to you. I'll get
Takes
that
2
to
to
you.
5 business days. I don't know when
Maybe
the order was submitted.
We'll upgrade it
November.
a long time ago. We'll upgrade it to a shirt.
I don't know if he paid for expedited shipping. So
All right. All right. Let me see if there's any questions I missed. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one from Thorgal. What about pre-ordering items or ask for updates if out of stock? Ooh, that's a good one. Like being put on like an email list or something.
That is a good one. Pre-ordering items pre-ordering items that are out of stock, so where you're like running the rest of your store, is something that is not completely new, but is not something that we have in a very specific spot on the roadmap right now. So that'd be one of those features where we're really looking to see, as more users come on and as we get more activity in the wish list, as we get more people providing requests, like where does that fit alongside all of the other many things that we have to build. As far as getting updates for when a product is out of stock, there might be some creative workarounds for something like that now, potentially. Using forms might be an idea there, at least. But that also could be something that we could consider building in to our kind of out of stock state in that add to cart component as well. So I think there are some interesting enhancement ideas for that kind of case in particular that I appreciate you sharing, and would love to, like I said, get in the wish list and keep hearing from more customers and get a better sense of how much of a pain this is right now, or how much value we'd be able to provide for you by kind of taking those things on.
Cool. Well, and I think this is going to be the last question from the community. So from Josh Lopez, will you be my friends?
Which ones, us or just Monica?
We're all friends here. Yeah. We're all friends.
Yes, of course.
We all know each other.
All you have to do is purchase three or 4 shirts, and then I'm kidding.
And then obviously when we send out customer surveys as well, we like to keep those conversations with you going there. So that's a really cool thing that friends do.
Yeah.
Answer surveys and upvote things on wish lists.
Yes. Yes. All right. Thank you to the community. I have 3 last questions for you, though. One, what was the top 3 hardest things to do to get to this launch? Just want to know behind the scenes, what did it take to make this happen?
Top 3 hardest things to do.
I think one of them is probably the newness of this, that, you know, just given it took a lot of people to build up the type of expertise it takes to really build a comprehensive, a very large platform, a bunch of systems that have to work together. And it took a lot to gather that information together. We had to do a lot of research, everybody brings on a different perspective, getting engineering, marketing, education, support, business, finance all together, and essentially laying the foundations for a platform that's buildable, essentially, so we can continue building on these new features and doing that in a very deliberate way. So that was like a really big part.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, a lot of the people here who have worked on or supported or are helping market, do marketing for our e-commerce platform have experience in e-commerce before, or related fields like finance, payments, taxes, business, a lot of those different pieces, not only web design, but to your point, I think there's a building an organizational expertise around an entirely new area, especially one that involves moving money, and sales and orders and taxes and all of these different pieces, it was definitely a big undertaking for our team, because we not only needed to figure out what to build, but how to build it, how to talk about it to the world, how to create educational resources that help people figure out how to actually use it successfully, and to be able to support folks when they're having trouble getting up and running as well. So that, I think that was a great one. At a high level, that was a really important challenge, or a really difficult challenge. I think another one that probably we feel the most, or a lot, is it's really hard to know when to draw the line in terms of when is something ready to release in an early alpha or a beta to our entire user base, or when is our e-commerce platform going to be ready for launch. That one can be very difficult, because the perfectionists, I think, and all of us here want to have everything there and ready from the get-go. But I think there's also a tension and a pull to get what we're building in your hands as our community as quickly as possible as well. And so finding that balance can be really hard from a you know, kind of a product team perspective, because we want what we're putting out there to be the best that it possibly can be. But we also want to make sure we get stuff in your hands as fast as we possibly can, so that you can use it and help us make it better faster. So
and all of your business needs are very, very different. Obviously, we're giving you tools, we're giving you the freedom to create the type of business that you can imagine. And because each customer and user is different, it's hard for us to really make sure that we're building the thing that will satisfy everyone. So that's always a trade-off that we're making with each feature. We know that if we're working on one thing, then we're not working on something else that may be more important to another customer. So that's hard, because we want to build everything that you guys think is important.
Definitely. So that was 2. Probably the third one that's worth mentioning. There are tons of specific examples of this over the course of the journey, but basically tackling some of the technical challenges. And that was, you know, less the 2 of us and more the amazing group of engineers who actually built all of these different pieces. Yes, there were tons and tons of cases where what we were building for e-commerce required us stretching and doing new things with the Webflow platform that we had never done before. As much as hopefully it feels like it just fits in really, really well and seamlessly with all of the other pieces that we already have in Webflow. In terms of the technical challenges required to actually make that happen, how are we going to create in many ways, for the first time, a site that is not only something that the end user consumes, but that they actually get to take action on, add items to a cart, go to checkout, fill in their information and trigger a payment, and get feedback about all of those things happening while that data is being passed back and forth securely, to our servers and being persisted in databases there, and doing that in a way that's going to work for all of the tens and tens of thousands of sites out there, right? Using Webflow as their platform. That's just one example, but even wiring up the Apple Pay, right, was like technical challenges that we needed to work through for a bunch of these e-commerce features that were new and kind of different for our platform, but that also provided us an opportunity to solve some of these problems and create a stronger foundation for Webflow that I think not only e-commerce, but the rest of the product as well will hopefully benefit from.
Yeah, and a lot of what we do is abstract a lot of the technical complexities from you just to make it so that you focus on the design and the customization. We give you freedom in that space. And so we don't try to expose the API or how things are actually built. We want to expose them in a way that is easy for you to use. So that's like a really big part of how we build features here.
Yeah, and like I always say, it's easy to build something that's hard to use, and it's hard to build something that's easy to use.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm sure most of you watching as kind of designers and creative people who are building things yourselves can completely relate to.
You guys get it.
So.
Second question, what is your biggest takeaway from this launch?
That's a great question. And maybe I'll go with, because the launch itself is just happening right now, but my biggest takeaway from between when we started beta and where we're at today with this launch actually draws on one of the challenges that I talked about in terms of deciding when to draw the line, like when is something ready to get out there for our customers. One of my biggest takeaways from beta was that I'm really, really happy that we got that in all of your hands when we did, and didn't say, oh no, like let's not even start beta until we have variants, or until we have variants and quick pay. Because that would have been today. No one would have had an opportunity to create any of the amazing stores that have already been created. If we hadn't opened it up earlier on in the process. And for me, the reality is that no matter how ready or well-baked a new feature is that we release, once we get it in your hands as a community full of creative, intelligent, super talented people, it's like, it always is mind-blowing and exceeds my expectations what people can actually build and create with those tools, even when they're in their like simplest states. And so for me, that's the big takeaway from the beta, is like, expect to have your expectations blown away or expect to have my expectations blown away once we actually get this stuff in your hands. So
we're already we're drooling over some of the stores. We're super excited to see what you guys will build next. And we just know that once we get it into your hands, you'll only help us make it better. So we're, it's like a great loop there. So we're really excited to see what happens next.
Nice. Yeah, the community is so inspiring to the whole team, and we have a Slack channel where we just show off some of the best stuff that are built inside of Webflow, and everyone just loves seeing what you all build. So keep doing it with each new feature, and we want to be wowed, and it just shows that this platform is growing with your creativity. Last question for me is anything else that you would like to say to the community before you go?
I mean, I think that what we had just mentioned is probably the tied to the last thing that I'd want to say to the community. Already thanked the team for building e-commerce and for supporting it and launching it and all of the great things there. But again, for all of you, our awesome Webflow community watching this, please use it, build amazing things with it. As Nelson said, like that's the fuel that keeps us going. I mean, that's the entire reason that we exist as a company, is to, as I said at the very beginning, like empower you to create amazing things. And so I hope that what we've provided you here and what we'll kind of continue to provide while we build more and more onto Webflow Ecommerce just opens up more and more of those opportunities for you. So please do that. Please provide us feedback and share with us.
Yeah, just keep being awesome. And we're excited to see what you guys build.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Again, this was Kyle and Monica, product managers that spearheaded the e-commerce feature. Thank you all so much for this walkthrough and talking to the community, answering our questions. Hopefully we can get more streams with you on. And wait, whoa, what?
Hello, everyone on YouTube.
Is the whole company there? Hold on, let me see if I can make the camera on you guys.
We got it.
Zoom out.
Oh,
there we go.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, zoom out. Oh wow. There you go. If what? Hi. Yay! Hi guys. Yeah. I don't know what to say, but that's awesome that you. Okay, bye. Back to work.
Resume.
Oh man, that was cool.
I just heard like thunder. It's like.
Didn't you see the light? We're live in here. No.
You're not supposed to come in.
That's awesome.
Is there a lock? Is there a lock on that door? Or... No.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the stream. We'll want to get you both on the stream next time another launch happens for more features. But thank you, and we'll see you in the future.
Sounds good.
See you guys.
Bye, Nelson.
Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, everyone.
No problem. All right, so that was Webflow Ecommerce launch. Thank you for joining me. And again, thanks to the team who built it, Kyle and Monica, for spearheading the feature. And to you watching, so let's do our sign off, shall we? Let's see here. If you need any account, billing, or technical help, please go to university.webflow.com/contact, and the customer support team will help you out as fast as they can. The community, if you want to join the rest of the community, go to forum.webflow.com. Post your design or custom code questions, show off your website there. If you have some sort of tip or trick that you want to show to the community, post it there as well. And do me a favor, if your question gets answered, please answer someone else's question so we can all grow together. This stream happens every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so. That notification bell is there for you if you want to see whenever we have a new live stream or a new education video that will have a joke or two inside of it. Follow us on Twitter at Webflow. For Instagram, it's Webflow app, facebook.com/Webflow. You can follow me on Twitter at ThePixelGeek. That's about it. I will see you all on the first week of March. I will be in studio interviewing the design masters, Ryan and JP from the Webflow marketing team. Oh, that's going to be so good. So bring your questions, all your design questions on that stream. And until then, thank you all for being here. And as always, make the web beautiful. See ya.